Bryn LennonGetty ImagesHe won the Premier League in his first season in charge at Stamford Bridge, taking a struggling Chelsea side from mid-table has-beens to champions in less than a year. He's brought about a tactical revolution in the Premier League with his approach to the game and has also unearthed some gems in the Chelsea dressing room, notably Victor Moses. Even in the transfer market, Antonio Conte has been successful, buying unfashionable players such as Marcos Alonso to transform them into vital components of his team. How can you criticize a man who has achieved all that in such a short space of time? The initial response is that you can't but scratch the surface, and it becomes clear that Conte still has work to do if he's to make Chelsea the force they once were. And a big part of that is to improve on some of the mistakes he has made while in charge. For everything he has got right, the Italian hasn't always been free from error. We break down some of Conte's biggest mistakes at Chelsea. A lack of faith in Michy Batshuayi. Pierre-Philippe Marcougetty image spare thought for Chelsea's Belgian striker Batshuayi right now. He joined the club in 2016 from Marseille for £32 million on the back of a promising enough showing for his country at Euro 2016. While the Red Devils didn't live up to their expectations, a few appearances and a goal for Batshuayi made him stand out in France. His move to Chelsea was supposed to be the next step in his career, but he's stagnated. He's struggled to adapt to Conte's way of playing, and on the surface, the finger has to be pointed as much at the manager as the player. Forgetting moments from last season when Batshuayi was left festering on the sidelines, more recently the striker suffered the humiliation of Willian being preferred to him up front against Manchester City when Alvaro Morata went off injured in the Blues' 10 defeat ahead of the international break. Indeed, it was only when Batshuayi came on with 15 minutes left in the game that Chelsea seemed to show more penetration in the final third. The feeling at full-time was that Conte had waited too long to introduce him. With a lack of opportunities, and apparent lack of faith, Chelsea only have one bona fide goal scorer they can rely on now. Last season that was Diego Costa, and this year Morata has replaced him. And now Morata is out injured with a hamstring strain. So what of Batshuayi for £32 million? Chelsea are yet to see a proper return on their investment. He's been there for some big moments such as scoring the goal that sealed the Premier League title against West Bromwich Albion and also the winner against Atletico Madrid, but there hasn't been any consistency. Still, there are questions surrounding his ability to be a Stamford Bridge success. Forgetting his price tag, Batshuayi is a raw striker. He was only 22 when he joined the Blues, and players of that age need to be shown a pathway in order to progress. He hasn't had the opportunities to do that. Conte hasn't done enough to help him. A lack of youth development. Catherine ImagesHe ImagesHe. The early signs for Chelsea's academy looked promising when Conte arrived in the summer of 2016. He drafted the likes of Nathaniel Chalobah into his squad, and in the early stages of the season, he gave his young players some game time. But as Chelsea's season got serious, Conte seemed to turn his back on the youngsters. We saw less and less of them, even at moments in the campaign when Chalobah, along with Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Nathan Ake, could have been rotated in what was a threadbare Chelsea squad. None of that trio is at Chelsea now. Chalobah and Ake have departed on permanent deals to Watford and Bournemouth respectively. Loftus-Cheek is on a season-long loan at Crystal Palace. Loftus-Cheek's situation particularly grates. From his first game in charge against Rapid Vienna, Conte attempted to play the young midfielder as a makeshift second striker. It didn't work for the simple fact Loftus-Cheek was being asked to function in a position that he never has in all his time at Chelsea since joining as an 8-year-old. Loftus-Cheek is the sort of explosive midfielder Chelsea crave, yet he isn't being given those opportunities to show it in the same way he did in the juniors. Now we're hearing news that Charlie Musonda may well be shipped out on loan in January in order to gain more experience, rather than remaining at Stamford Bridge to work with Conte. Alex LennonGetty ImagesHe. The Evening Standard reports that the Blues are willing to allow the talented attacker to leave after a social media outburst this week that was seemingly expressing frustration at a lack of opportunities. Of course, Conte isn't alone here. There have been plenty of Chelsea managers before him who have struggled to integrate the emerging youth stars in the first team. Instead, it's the transfer market that is bringing Chelsea the biggest rewards, which is a crying shame given the success the club continues to have at youth level, where they're dominant. A lack of progress from the youth setup to the first team remains a constant point of frustration for Chelsea fans, regardless of who it is in the dugout. Stubborn substitution scather in ImagesHe images. When we look at how Chelsea have developed in the 15 months Conte has been in charge at Stamford Bridge, it's difficult to suggest he is a stubborn man. He's been flexible with his formations, deploying anything from 4,231 to a 352 or the much-heralded 343. Indeed, with his move to the ladder last season, it not only inspired Chelsea to the title but brought about a rapid change in tactical thinking from rival managers. Now we're seeing the formation become more prevalent across the league. But look at Conte's substitutions, and stubborn is the adjective that comes to mind. Chelsea's recent loss to Manchester City is a case in point. With Pep Guardiola's side gradually turning the screw in their 10 victory, it was only when Chelsea went behind that Conte attempted to change things. Playing just two attackers was stifling his side, surrendering territory to City as they squeezed Chelsea in their own half. With Eden Hazard and Morata's latterly Willian, the only attacking threat, City were able to commit men forward and play so high up the pitch that Chelsea dropped deeper and deeper. Chris Brunskill Ltd Getty Images Guardiola hadn't outwitted Conte, but as the game went on, the City manager's approach got stronger through Conte's apparent refusal to change his system with the players on his bench. It took until 72 minutes when he brought Pedro and Batshuayi on, losing a midfielder. By that stage, the game was gone. It was only 10, but so dominant had City been, Chelsea were mentally beaten. They had to withstand attack after attack over the course of the game, which took its toll. Still, they threatened more than they had at any stage in the game when the subs were made, and it led to thoughts of how things could have been different had the manager changed things earlier. What fans are saying. Gary Hayes at Gary Hayesball. If you were being hypercritical of Conte's reign at Chelsea, what would you say has been his biggest mistake? CFC 20171011190133. We also polled Chelsea fans on Twitter to get their thoughts on the debate surrounding Conte's decision-making. Surprisingly, few disagreed with the decision to appoint Gary Cahill as the permanent successor to John Terry as captain. Cahill has been a big talking point this term after he came in for some strong criticism following his red card against Bryn. Fans were especially vocal across social platforms, but he drew in the least votes when it came to Conte's biggest mistakes that we listed. That hints at a small portion of fans not rating Cahill. However, the feeling remains strong about the manager's substitutions and also how he dealt with the Costa situation. After a public spat with Conte, Chelsea's leading goal scorer from the past 3 seasons has now agreed to join Atletico Madrid in January. Here are some of the best comments from fans reacting to our poll. Tyler Strauss at Tyler_Strauss_ at Gary Hayes. Honestly, the only time I've been frustrated with him was his tactics against Manchester City. Costa was problematic but well resolved. 20171011191,307 Projager at Gary Hayes not giving us assurance he is here for the long run. 20171011191,809 Tyler Strauss at Tyler_Strauss_ at Gary Hayes. Honestly, the only time I've been frustrated with him was his tactics against Manchester City. Costa was problematic but well resolved. 20171011191,307 Passion Nonce at CS_CFC at Gary Hayes. Only real criticism for me is record in big games, derby matches. Bar Burnley, every loss has been against aside from London or Manchester. 201710111930223 Daniel Indiazzi at Chokeraha at Gary Hayes. Man City's squad selection was dead. His biggest mistake. 201710112141608 Doug McPherson at Doug MCP at Gary Hayes. It is definitely some of the subs, Gabby, but some have been inspired. Hard choice, but I went D. 2017101192846 Jim Boyd at Jim Boyd 79 at Gary Hayes. His reluctance to give the youngsters any meaningful minutes last season, losing Akam Chalaba in the process. 201710111190841